This is our Week 2 update. This week's blocks are Unit 1 Block 3 on Wednesday and Unit 1 Block 4 on Sunday. This week is Census Week, which means that this is the last chance to drop the class without having a W or an F on your transcript. So what I will be doing is those students who have not fully completed blocks 1 and 2 by the census date, which is February 17th, will be dropped from the class. If you want to stay in the class, just make sure that you are fully complete blocks 1 and 2 and you'll be fine. Some updates for this week. So we will be continuing to prep for Essay 1. So last week you did your brainstorm. This week you're going to be submitting your topic and your outline. And I'm going to discuss more later in the video. When you're choosing your topic, you're wanting to choose a story that was important to you growing up. So for some of you, these are going to be stories that were told to you by parents or other adults in your life. But for some of you, that's not going to be the case, and that is absolutely fine. So if for you, the stories that you grew up with were movies or television shows, that is absolutely fine to choose as your topic. So just choose a story that was important to you growing up, regardless of how you received that story. And if you are confused or want to check with me, feel free to message me with your proposed topic and I can let you know if it'll work. Hey class, welcome to week 2. So in this little part of the video, I'm going to go over the essay prep assignments that we're going to be working on this week. The rest of the assignments that you're going to be doing, I feel are pretty self-explanatory and I have, instructions and all that stuff. If you have any questions, feel free to ask me, but I'm mostly going to be focusing on the essay prep for this video. Okay, so if you're watching this video, you are either working on or you've already completed the first essay prep assignment, which is the brainstorm. So this shouldn't take very long. It's just a couple questions that you're going to be looking at. So you're going to watch this video, you're going to open up the Google Doc that looks like this, and then you're just going to, give yourself 10-15 minutes and you're just going to answer all of these questions. Go into as much detail as possible because this is going to end up transferring into your essay. So the more detail you put here, the more you can actually use in your final essay. So it's definitely worthwhile to take a little bit of time and actually give, detailed answers rather than just jotting down, a sentence or two. So that's going to be the first part, and it's just to help you think of different stories that you grew up with. And then what you're going to be doing after this is actually choosing your topic. So a couple things as you're going through this. For some of you, you're going to have a lot of stories to choose from because, your parents or your family or whatever adults raised you, we're storytellers. And so maybe there's lots and lots of stories to choose from. For some of you, that might not be the case, and that is absolutely fine. So if you end up, going through this and maybe you don't remember a lot of stories that you were told as a kid, feel free to also look at movies that you really loved to watch and rewatch as a kid, even TV shows that you love to watch and rewatch as a kid. What we're looking for is stories that you know really well, things that you watched on repeat for whatever reason. And so that's really what we're looking for here. So if you go through this and you don't come up with a lot of stories and you're kind of worried about that, feel free to just pick like a movie or a TV show. That will work fine for this assignment. Also, they do not need to be English stories. So if you grew up with speaking another language and the stories that you grew up with are in that other language, that is absolutely fine. You're going to be telling me the story in your own words, so you can just summarize it in English. It doesn't have to be in English when you first heard it. Okay, so that's going to be that part. So once you've completed this, then you're going to go on to block 3, which is your essay 1 topic submission and questions. So this is where you're going to actually narrow down the topic that you want to talk about or the story that you want to talk about. So watch this video, open up the Google Doc. It's going to look like this. You're going to name your chosen story. If it has a name, like say it is a movie or a TV show, just go with that name. If it's a family story or a story that is like unique to your family and doesn't have a particular name, just name it. So name it whatever you want. And that's just going to give you something you can kind of refer back to. And then you're going to take 5 to 10 sentences to tell me the story write in your own words. So even if it's something like a Disney movie that, you could just copy and paste a summary from Wikipedia, I actually do want to hear your version of the story, because I think a lot of the stories that we grew up with as kids are ones that we really respond to, and often we remember things slightly differently based off our personal preferences. So I want to know your version of the story, even if it's not 100% accurate. That is the version that you remember, and so that is the version that I want to go with. Then you're going to tell me the context of you first hearing the story. So who told you the story for the first time? How old were you? Where were you? Kind of what was your mindset? Were you excited to hear it? Was it something you were, not thinking you would like very much and then you ended up loving it? Something like that. Then as a child, why did you respond to the story? So what about the story did you love when you were a kid? And then as an adult, how do you feel about the story now? Has your view on the story changed? Do you appreciate different aspects of the story now more so than when you were a kid, or vice versa? So just kind of tell me, as a child and as an adult, how you feel about the story. And then that is going to be this assignment. And then the last prep we are going to be doing for this essay is going to be your outline. So your outline is going to look like this. You're going to watch this video here. This is a tutorial. It goes really in detail. So it might be that for later essays, you don't need to watch a full tutorial because you know what you're doing. For this one, I do recommend at least kind of perusing over it, because you want to make sure that you're kind of understanding what I'm looking for. You're going to open up this Google Doc here. Looks like this, and then you're just going to fill it out. So here it has, what the assignment is, and then you have your introduction, your body paragraph 1, body paragraph 2, body paragraph 3, and a conclusion. So this is a very basic essay. We're really starting from kind of the bare minimum here. And then you have, so for your introduction, for your hook, you're going to be choosing a quote from one of the articles that we've read in class so far. So for other essays, you will have options as to what you want to use as your hook. But for this particular essay, I do want you to choose a quote because I want you to practice that skill. So you're going to choose a quote from any of the articles that we've read so far. So we have the Pauline Dwan article, the Greg Ruth article, the Elaine Reese, and then we have the Sherman Alexie. So just choose a quote from one of the articles that kind of best matches what your story is. If you're not really sure what to do with that, feel free to ask me, and I can kind of give you some ideas. So that's going to be your hook. And then you're going to introduce your topic. So what is the story? And then you have your thesis statement where you are going to tell me the name of the story, what you learned from the story as a kid, or what sticks out to you from the story as a kid versus how you feel about the story as an adult. And that's basically going to be what this essay is. So body 1 is going to be you telling me the story in your own words. So for the topic sentence, you're going to tell me the context of first hearing the story. And then for the descriptive retelling, you're going to tell me the story in your own words. Then for body 2, you're going to focus on what the story meant to you as a kid when you first heard it, what did the story teach you, what stuck out to you, and then you're going to support that with examples from your childhood of how the story impacted you. So say the story taught you the importance of friendship or something. So if it taught me the importance of friendship, then I would give 2 examples from my childhood of friendships that I had that were important to me, or important interactions I had as a kid that really helped form the type of person I am in relation to the friendships that I have. And then for body 3, this is where you're going to be looking as an adult, what does the story mean to you now? So maybe you still, take away the same message, but maybe there's different parts of the story that you appreciate. So you're going to have that here, and then again, you're going to give 2 support. So what does that look like in your adult life? How do you take those messages, or how do you, what does that look like for you now that you're older? It might be that the story got you involved or got you interested in a genre of reading that you are still really interested in, like horror or like comedy or fairy tales or that sort of thing, like myths and legends and whatever. It might be that you have an important message. It might be that you now see the story differently through kind of the lens of being an adult, and maybe you see the story in a different way. Maybe if it's something like, say, like a fairy tale, like Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, maybe as a kid you really looked up to that romance, and as an adult you're like, oh, that's a little sus. That's okay. So this is really your chance to look at it through like an adult lens and really talk about what the story means to you now, for good or bad. Maybe you still love it, maybe you don't. That's okay. And then you're going to have your conclusion. So that is going to be the essay prep for this essay. And then next Monday, you're going to be submitting that essay. So as you're going through this, I will be giving feedback as kind of needed. So usually for this first essay, I don't have to give a lot of feedback in the early part. So like for the brainstorm up here, as well as like the topic submission and questions. Usually, unless I see kind of something going wrong, I won't comment too much on it. I'll just give you, full points, and you'll be good to go. For the outline, I will be leaving feedback, so make sure to look out for that. I will leave a little comment in the comments that gives you instructions of how to look at feedback. That way, if you've never done it before, you kind of know what you're doing. For this one, if you don't get full points on it, you can revise, resubmit, and then get those full points. You can actually do that with any of the essay prep assignments, but I don't see that being a big issue, probably until the outline, maybe the topic submission. So if you don't have full points, read the comments, look at the feedback, resubmit, and then you'll get full points for that. And then I think that is it for now. We have a couple more things next week that I will talk about then, but that's really all we need to worry about for this week. So if you have any questions, let me know. Otherwise, good luck, and I will talk to you guys next week. This week you will have an extra credit opportunity. So if you go to the discussion that we did last week, which was the Introduction to Visual Media and Student Introduction assignment, where you posted your 5 Facts About Me video, if you go there, you're going to comment on 2 student videos. And basically you can ask a follow-up question for something that they shared. You could comment on something that you have in common with them, or that you also really enjoy. Basically, it's a way to get to know each other a little bit better. So you're going to comment on 2 student videos, and if you do that, I will give you some extra credit for that. Obviously, be kind and supportive. This is meant to be a way to get closer and get to know each other a little bit better, so be kind. And this opportunity lasts until the 15th at midnight. After that, I won't be giving any more extra credit. And finally, I just hope everyone has a great week. I know last week was a lot with all the storms, but hopefully this week is a little more chill, and that everything is going well with your other classes. And I will check in with you guys next week.